like LARPing is like one of the most geeky things you can do ever invented.
Yep.
You know, I think fantasy sports is eking into that list of very high.
Depends how real you get. Actual draft.
Wait a minute.
Suits.
Fantasy football or fantasy sports is up there with LARPing.
Trying to have a little fun, Mike.
I know. We're good.
Like,
All right, everybody. Apparently, we're starting the show. Welcome, everybody. I am Chris, your host at this edition of the Heroes Peak podcast. I am here with a wonderful group of friends of mine. We're going to start with Mike. How you feeling today, Mike?
I'm doing well, thanks. How you doing?
I'm lying.
Liar.
Grumpy pants.
You saw you doing a dress rehearsal.
Dress rehearsal.
Look, I got too much snow on the ground, so.
No.
I'm
no. Yeah, he's
snow. Oh my god.
But yeah, he's north of the wall.
Mhm.
I'm not
The
trying to
wall.
brag or anything, but it was 79 degrees and I wore flip-flops today.
So you are trying to brag.
Yeah.
A
It
little,
is a
yeah,
brag.
yeah.
Or
Does
something.
brag.
Worst humble brag ever.
Yeah, that was terrible.
I'm not
right.
trying to brag.
Well, next, telling us how about her good weather is Brooks. How you doing, Brooks?
Great. Just enjoying this sunny California winter we have going on.
So you don't have to wear one of these things?
Sure don't. Nope. Mm-mm.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
joining me with the cold weather gear is Keith. How you doing, Keith?
Hey, what's up? Nick's media day was today.
Oh, did they announce they're quitting the season?
Wow. Right after the Raptors.
And finally, still sporting his grow gun behind him is James.
Yo, it's funny that he brings up Knicks media day, but the Knicks had a terrible weekend.
How'd they have a terrible weekend?
Because your whole
Had a terrible. Nate and the Mets had a terrible weekend.
and the Knicks got destroyed in LA in the Staples Center in same old fashion like they normally do.
Who is they?
The Knicks.
How'd the Knicks get destroyed?
You know, Kobe rose up from the grave and gave one last laugh.
Don't
the Mets got
ever talk about
Anymore.
Kobe.
Wait, so Kobe, his spirit went into Jake Paul's body, of all people in the universe. And
Wow,
knocked
I was
Nate
very
Robinson
close there.
out?
I think that was more like Jerry West and Pau Gasol.
Okay, so just so everybody knows, we're going to start this episode off with a kind of a sports heavy theme. Don't real geeks, don't get scared. We're going to have some stuff for you. We're going to talk about movies and fantasy
We're going
stuff
to compare
too.
this weekend to Star Wars, you know, Nate Robinson, chosen one.
That's right. There'll be plenty of references you'll understand for the sports ball. We will talk about Mandalorian episode, and we will talk about our stupid movie of the month.
Jiu
And how we're
Jitsu.
Mike will be banned after this.
That's right. We're going to be looking at you, Nic Cage, here.
Why am I not in this movie? Oh, wait, I am.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go right into the sports talk. I have a theme I'm going to start with, right? And that is people doing things that really they are not prepared to do in the sporting world. And we're going to start off with the fights, because we are kind of a pop culture podcast here. So this is very much in that realm more than it is sports realm.
Well,
Because
think about the opponent for Nate is a big YouTube star, right?
right. So we watched Nate Robinson and Jake Paul fight, and then we watch Mike Tyson come back to the ring and fight Roy Jones Jr. And these were some sad fights. And I'm not a big boxing fan, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know everything that's going on. I'm going to pass it along to James here to take over for a little bit. But I'll tell you, what I watched was people punching above their weight or failing to punch above
Nate
their weight.
Robinson and the decimation of the Knicks franchise. Let's go back to Tyson and Roy Jones Jr.
All right, start there for
I
me.
like the characterization you did, and I know you're not a boxing fan, but Mike hasn't fought in 15 years. He's gone through all types of trials and tribulations.
That's putting it lightly.
Such as
Literal
last-
trials.
And he's gone through his professional career too, more so to some extent. Roy Jones retired about 3 or 4 years ago. I forget exactly when he retired. Had a different career path. And at first, when you look at this on paper, this fight made no sense. Like, both are beyond, over the hill. One was their weight class was much different than the other one. Tyson being heavyweight, and Roy Jones, his last fight, I think, was heavy. You think he'd beat Louis Reese in his last fight as a heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
The fight styles didn't make any sense. And then you saw the marketing and the training. And you saw Tyson slimming down, getting in shape, and he was hitting the punching bag. And I'm like, oh, this looks interesting, in the key fashion. Oh. And then you look at Roy Jones, very little information about him. It's like, yeah, he's a charity, but Pensacola has always been his mantra for his career. So I started getting interested about this fight. I'm like, all right, I don't want to pay the $50 myself, but I do want to find someone who's going to be watching the fight, and I'll chip in. So, honestly, I expected Tyson to come in and destroy Roy Jones Jr. just off what I've seen up to going into the fight. What I saw during the fight, and you say it's tired and sad, and I get it. If you're not really into boxing technical sport, it looks like Snoop Dogg said himself, your uncles are getting wild out here. Grandma can get your uncles. But
that's right. Snoop Dogg was announcing this.
By the way, contract on TNT, on ABC, ESPN, whatever it is, to call every sport. I don't care if it's like college swim diving. He needs to be the guy calling that stuff because he's hilarious.
Him and Tony Romo should be on there together.
No, Tony actually knows his stuff and he says it well.
I know. That's why you need somebody who's really keyed into what's going on, and Snoop can be the color guy.
Yeah, I don't know if Tony can, transfer that into other sports. Like Snoop could probably do for car racing. He could do for Formula One.
Have you guys ever heard Snoop narrate Nat Geo?
No, we watched that horrible Snoop movie. I know he can't act.
It's no.
You did?
Narrate Nat Geo.
YouTube it and then first smoke a little. YouTube it. I promise you.
Speaking of smoking a little, let's get back to Tyson and the fight.
I know what this looks like, but sorry.
Looks like you're in Seattle.
So when you watch the fight, you realize that Tyson still had some semblance of his hand speed and his movement in the ring and his foot speed, but he didn't have the punching power. It looked great. He didn't have the punching power.
He felt defensive and just like surviving to me as a non-fan. I felt like he was surviving the whole time.
He seemed to have more energy than Roy, though. Roy
Exactly.
tired.
If Tyson was fighting someone else, I would agree with you, Chris. But his opponent was gassed in between rounds and
No, that's who I was talking about. I wasn't talking about Tyson.
Doing in the fourth quarter. That was Roy Jones at the end of the first round.
Yeah, that's what I was talking. I was talking about Jones. I wasn't talking about Tyson. Jones looked like defensive the whole time. Like, oh my God, what the hell am I doing here?
So watching that fight, obviously I was deep down rooting for Tyson, but I was impressed with what Roy Jones was able to do, despite the fact that he was winded. He was able to dance himself in clinch, do all the technical parts of boxing, not to get knocked the hell out. And he was doing that great to the point where you see Tyson after round 2, he wasn't going to get that lucky punch. He wasn't going to get that famous left hook or uppercut. He would have to actually, box the next couple of rounds. And by the time we got to the 8th round, it was a snooze fest for a lot of folks. But I really appreciate what both these dudes did, way beyond the hill for Roy Jones and Tyson, who had to come from another world of like tragedy and being overweight by 100 pounds to get down to that weight and to make the fight still, for me, exciting. I really enjoyed that part. And up until the referees called that bullshit draw announcement, I was really entertained by that fight.
All right. So Keith? What did you think watching the Jones Tyson?
I
fight?
didn't watch that one.
You didn't watch it?
Yeah, I just actually kind of like it lost me when like I started hearing like, oh, no knockouts, no like all the rules that were on the fight. I'm like, so now I'm gonna watch some old fogey exhibition. Like,
He lost it after Nate Robinson got knocked out.
that's actually what I wish I paid to. I would have like, I definitely wasn't paying $50 for that damn old fogey fight, but I definitely would have enjoyed it. If I would have known that that's what was occurred, I would have totally paid my money to be a part of the witnessing of that event. But that to me was more exciting. That the storyline from the Nate and the MAGA guys fight is to me more exciting than the Roy Jones and Tyson.
All right. Do we want to talk about the YouTube star versus the NBA?
Everybody else is gonna opine on Tyson and Roy. So let's go.
Okay. So this one was definitely not a technical match by any means. Even no matter how many times the announcer said they've been practicing 6 days a week, twice a day.
It
I'm
sure
like,
didn't look like it.
I think they were playing were they
like
playing Wii boxing or something? Because that's what it really looked like.
Yeah, no, Keith, they both didn't look like.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was a lucky shot, but like they were both like little kids just swinging.
Yeah, and Nate kept charging at him like he was playing Street Fighter. You know, you hold back on the stick and do a special combo move. Man, yeah.
Dude, it was Ball Bull and Little Mac charging at Little Mac. Little Mac had the timing punch.
I feel like he didn't even time that punch though. Like it was just a punch. It was
He timed it like.
It was just a punch that he was throwing because he threw the same exact punch like
12 times. Yeah, exactly. That's all he was doing.
That's true.
Like, so he was like, I'm gonna hit one of these. I'm gonna hit one of these.
And then Robinson like walked into it every time. He got hit once, knocked down by the same punch,
By the
and
way,
then
that
got back
first
up
punch,
and did the
I
same
would argue
thing.
when I saw it live, that was a rabbit punch. He got hit behind the head.
Yes,
punch.
that first punch was behind the ear.
Yeah, that was illegal. That first punch.
He should have got disqualified, but whatever.
Or his corner should have said something.
Yeah.
I thought they reviewed it because the announcer reviewed it. They said he got hit by the ear.
Yeah, but they were not reviewing. They were just making sure that he was ready to fight. He wanted to continue, and he looked already groggy. He was like, "Yeah, but you know, my head. I'll go in." And his corner was like, I don't know, they're looking at YouTube, whatever they were doing, and then they send the poor dude out there for another one.
I don't know. Once he got hit that first time, like he pulled back and he was not the same attacking guy that he was.
I didn't even know they were. So I knew Tyson and Jones was fighting, right? So I tuned in, but when I tuned in, they had some undercards, and I didn't even know these guys were fighting. And when they announced Jake Paul, I was like, wait a minute, isn't that the YouTube guy?
Is this the second time he's fought somebody like this?
Yeah, he was 1-0 or something before. So
Yeah, I forgot. He beat some other celebrity.
It was another YouTuber.
And now he's calling out McGregor.
Yeah, now he's a little too big for britches.
I
Yeah.
really need him I need somebody to break his face, yo.
Yeah.
That would be McGregor.
Yeah.
I don't know about McGregor.
Jeez. I'll watch that one.
McGregor
That
will do
was
it.
funny.
Don't count the way because he fought Mayweather. He didn't win that fight. The dude came from UFC to box.
I feel like McGregor's a glorified YouTuber himself. So like I don't know. I don't know.
I trust
Glorified
McGregor's
YouTuber.
fighting ability more so.
If they're gonna fight, well, they're not gonna fight UFC, right? They're gonna fight.
It had to be boxing.
It's just straight boxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
My
wouldn't.
money's still on McGregor then.
by far.
I mean, by far.
For sure.
Tell them,
Yeah.
tell them, please.
McGregor would definitely hurt him.
Yeah.
And he'd have fun doing it.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think that's the only reason the only professional he could get to do it, because McGregor is such a showboat, is willing to do the camera things. So,
I mean, this is getting him a lot of money on YouTube. He's already making like $10 million on YouTube. So his name out there for those who don't watch his channel is even bigger.
mhm.
Yeah, but now after the fight, he was on social media talking about, or some interview talking about how COVID was a hoax. So no, this is
He's back to MAGA.
Huh?
He's back to his MAGA.
Yeah, whatever. Stupid. Not
Well,
much.
he started losing followers because of a series of stupid things he was doing. Now he's looking for a new grift, apparently. All right. Sorry, go ahead.
He's got an audience of 70 million that he could pull from.
They're pulling their money too. These people are willing to pay.
Come on,
That's why we're going MAGA.
Switch over to Heroes Peak.
MAGA peak.
All
All right.
No. Pause. Huge pause.
All right. So now my transition here is continuing in the sports realm of being way out of your depth. Is we're going to go over to the Saints-Broncos game. So this weekend, the Saints and Broncos, they're the Saints are really hurting. Not really hurting. They're doing well, but they're constantly having to do it with backup quarterbacks right now, and they're winning anyway because Sean Payton apparently is an amazing play caller. But the Broncos, on the other hand, had a slight issue where their entire quarterback roster got hit with a positive COVID test and could not play. And they went down and they dug deep to find a fifth stringer who had never thrown an NFL pass and who was a high school quarterback by the name of Kendall Hinton. And this game, and this is even with the Saints playing Tyson Hill as their quarterback, who is their third stringer and not a real quarterback by any means.
He's a wide receiver.
Yeah, he's the one who does the option. They'll give him the option to run or maybe throw one pass. We've seen a couple of receivers who can throw a pass, and Tyson Hill's one of those. The numbers on this game were ridiculous. And do you guys remember? I mean, unfortunately, the Broncos have a bad history here with Jesus, dude. What's his name? God, I can't think of it.
From Florida, from University of Florida.
Yeah, he went up to the Tebow, where they're they basically won a playoff game on like a single successful pass play, and this run defense. But this time, this was a game of what would the defenses do against these terrible, non-experienced quarterbacks for the entire game. And so this is the stats line, all right? So Tyson Hill was 9 of 16 for 78 yards and an interception. It's doable.
It's not like the worst. Yeah.
It isn't the worst. I mean, I have Trubisky as my quarterback. I can't talk to mine because they had over 220 yards of rushing. So you make up with one with the other. Now the Broncos, on the other hand, he's 1 for 9 for 2 interceptions.
13 yards passing.
13 yards passing. And they had 100 yards even of rushing. Obviously not very good. This was an hysterical game to watch if you didn't want to watch good football. And it was basically play caller versus play caller because it was that you knew they were going to run 90% of the time. And these were two people way over their head. And it was just interesting as we were talking about watching Nate Robinson get KO'd and Jones Jr. really shouldn't be fighting, Mike Tyson. That I watched these two quarterbacks be way over their head this week.
My point of view is like, why did the NFL not even cancel that game? Like, you lose your 3 quarterbacks.
I think the answer is money, James.
Yeah,
money.
The answer is always money.
Well,
that game was already paid for. And
did you see there was a meme over the weekend saying the NFL is so desperate? Like, if they were in the Dark Knight Rises when Bane destroyed it, every other game will still be going on because of
play.
Like the entire Pittsburgh, the Gotham Knights are gone. Hey, 4:30 p.m. games, let's go. And that's terrible. Like, I didn't expect them to be this bad, but I thought the NFL would have canceled that game.
Well, they actually ended up moving the Ravens game from Thanksgiving. If everybody noticed, that was the late game that got moved. So the Ravens are playing Wednesday at 2:30 in the afternoon because NBC or whichever one has the game already has the tree lighting at night, so they can't. That was already scheduled. So
that's this week. Yeah,
they're playing the NFL. You know, the Ravens are big name right now because of the quarterback, and so playing at 2:30 or 3:30 in the afternoon.
Not bigger than the Rockefeller tree ceremony.
Apparently not. Well, he hasn't really performed this year the same way.
I bet you that there's a quarterback out there that would be willing to play in the NFL.
Not Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Colin Kaepernick?
Does he even want to play in the NFL anymore?
I think he's over it at this point.
I think at this point,
but
I don't know what you're talking about. I might have to take a knee and think about that one for a
he's
second.
like, I don't want to go in there and get COVID.
you're in the thinker position, right?
That's right. Hey, can we give a shout out to Sarah Fuller, by the way?
Yes. Let's talk about that. That's a really
Yeah.
good segue because I had a different opinion about that than James and Keith did. So
Okay, I
my
missed something.
opinion.
Wait.
Let's fill in.
Tell me what's
Let's
going
set
on.
it up. Okay.
Let's fill in the
Sorry,
audience.
Chris.
So, Vanderbilt, due to their COVID issues, they had so many players infected that they had to reach out to their women's soccer team and grab Sarah as their kicker.
Like the
Nice.
Saints should have done the same thing. They should have reached to Alabama and get a quarterback.
So she became the first woman to play in a, what do you call it? The Power Five, whatever. What do you call it?
5, yeah. Top
Yeah.
5 conferences.
Yeah. So congrats to her, first off.
Nice.
So I think that's great. Representation matters. This is a big deal. It's very important that they allowed a woman to play because women aren't really, I think there's rules against them even playing in like quote unquote men's sports. So I think it's great. I think it's a big win. I really felt positive about it. However, 2 other Heroes Peak podcast members felt differently.
Oh, interesting.
No,
Keith and James.
You're taking me at least out of context. What
Am I?
I said was like it was cool that she got the opportunity to be on a team to play as a women's field. By the way, she's not the first one ever in college basketball. She's like the third.
Football.
Like, top of college football. She's the third. But she's
Yeah.
the first one
It's just a conference.
conference.
Yeah.
Right.
Or whatever. So that was cool. But then I read the ESPN article about the game where it was like 41-0. And I'm like, wait a minute, she didn't get a 3-point field goal? Like, and I'm reading some more, and I'm seeing that the coach had made her kick some really terrible play call that was like an offsides kick that didn't go right. The other team got the ball, went on to continue to score. So everything you read about the article, to me, shows you that
He shouldn't have been playing the game.
Listen, by the way, the coach got fired on Sunday.
position. That's my point. Like, it's great that she got the opportunity to, but once that arrived, it was a terrible stage and platform for her. Not all of it's her fault.
Yeah, sounds like she was set up. Not they didn't do it to her, but she was just in a situation that was set up to fail.
Chris, you and I talked about this for geek movies where you want to have black heroes and icons, but then you don't get the right directors, producers, whatever. And like, yeah, we got a black dude, but this is terrible script, terrible CGI. Does this really matter?
I like
gotten
Luke
to the point-
Cage, okay?
We've gotten to the point where we cheer for everything just because that thing exists, and that's dope, and I get it. But like, it's still sport. Like now the team got trounced. Like, it was bad coaching. It was a horrible. Like, really, I wouldn't have wanted to be the first woman on that team. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, like that's not a huge win. Like,
Hey, coach, we're going for this field goal. I don't care what 30 yards away. I'm giving it a shot because we're losing 40-0. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
two things popped into my head when I read about this. I was like, so yeah, I mean, it's cool that she was on the team, but I kind of felt like she was there by default, right? Because nobody else was available. So my question was, she wouldn't have been picked had this not, COVID not been an issue.
well, the question is, had they ever bothered to allow them to try?
Right. That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
So it's like if you looked at the early days of basketball and it was all white dudes in tiny shorts bouncing the ball with like two hands, and you go, oh, would anybody even want to join that league? You don't know until you give people a chance to start being a part of it, to see what talents they can bring as they hone those talents towards that. A soccer player is a good kicker, but it doesn't automatically translate to a great place kicker or onside kicker. Right? You see these guys in the NFL who are professionals who screw that up all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I lost my friggin' playoff bid because we got a double doink at like a 30-yard kick. And so it's like they have to be allowed to come in and fail and not be screamed out of the game. It's just like you said, having a terrible movie with a black lead should not to lead Hollywood to say no more black leads. It should say, it's okay. It's a failed movie. We have those all the time. It's just another one. It's having those opportunities are good, whether they should be good, whether they fail or not, just because we're giving people shots.
Yeah, as long as if we're opening a door, then yeah.
I agree I tend to agree with you on that, Chris. Like, definitely. The true equality is the freedom to fail. That's true equality. Like, I should be, I shouldn't have to be the best person in the room to be able to barely get the job. Like, that's totally horrible.
That's perfect in a Disney movie, but that's not.
But it's just not real life.
Well, I know we're not there yet. We're definitely not there yet. Absolutely, I agree.
We're not there in North American sports.
The first person or the first attempt has to be impactful. Like, it has to be impactful, or it's just not. You know what I'm saying? It's not that it won't happen again, but like.
But like James said, this isn't the first woman ever to place kick.
I'd wonder about the other stories. Did they win? What happened with them? Like, to me,
not memorable. Not memorable.
And if you can't make it memorable, and that's sport, that man, woman, whatever it is, like, if your moment isn't memorable.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You need.
If she came in and kicked a 50-yard field goal, and now they lost 40-3. You'll be talking about her for 2 years.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You do need like a Jackie Robinson to come in and change the game and be the face and the have all of the skills above and beyond everybody else who's playing.
Because what kills the other side of the argument is that this transcendent person, like, you thought we were lesser. We came in and dominated. Like, so you have to have that moment where you dominate. Like, or you prove why you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting if high schools more started going, hey, let's try more of the women's soccer, the girls' soccer players, and see if they're better than some of these, the picking off the return guy for a kicker because that's all we got, But it's a long process to get there. I mean, obviously, we were just talking about guys who were not up to the task, and they were elite athletes in other locations, and they just could not handle the situation they were in. But they're allowed to come in and fail and be terrible and have people be like, no, it's not their fault.
You know what reminds me of that? Me losing terribly last season in fantasy basketball.
All right.
I came in with so much bravado, machismo, and ability because I've won my office pools, and I got wrecked.
All right.
Is that our transition?
I think that was.
The geekiest, one of the top 20 geekiest things is fantasy sports. I am putting it on the list. It is definitely a geek activity. Whether
it's too geeky for me. I'm out.
Wait, I need to understand this.
You ever watch The League on FX? That's
The
like
League, that's like
Dude.
one of my favorite TV shows.
Like there's like LARPing and there's D&D playing.
What is LARP? Wait.
No.
And then like
What is
fantasy
LARPing?
sports is this like
Wait,
is this
stop,
like
stop, Brooksy, you're digging a hole you don't
Oh,
go down.
Okay.
live
Nope, I'm good.
live action role play. So think of D&D, but people put on costumes and have foam swords.
You ever seen
Run
that?
around in the
You ever
forest.
seen that movie Role Models with?
Subway station in New York City.
You ever seen Role Models with Ant-Man? What's
Paul
that?
Rudd. Paul Rudd is a
Paul
great
Rudd.
movie. That's
Yeah.
funny.
That's an awesome movie, actually.
Yeah, and they do live action role playing in that.
So anyway, so if you take that, that's kind of like the sports guy geek level. Like LARPing is like one of the most geeky things you can do ever invented. You know, I think fantasy sports is eking into that list of very
Yeah,
high.
it depends how real you get. Actual draft.
Wait a minute.
Suits.
Fantasy football or fantasy sports is up there with LARPing.
I didn't say
It's
that.
not up. It's not
No,
at the
I
top
didn't
of the
say that.
list,
No.
but it's a very geeky activity.
I see
on the
where he's
door.
trying to
Knock
go.
on
I
the
see
door.
where he's trying to go with that. Like,
I'm not.
You're a
it's
sports.
knocking on
It's
the
okay
door.
to be a sports geek. It's okay to be a sports geek.
Particular sport. It's sports geek.
It's sports geeking.
Yeah,
It
that
is.
is.
Those are the people who like all day spend
You
like
get into real
spend
fights
time, like-
over the fantasy picks and go to people's.
Yeah, that's too much statistics for me. Even like I'm a huge baseball fan, and I'm all about all the stats for the players and the teams. But that's
Yeah,
beyond me.
there's nothing geekier than baseball, and when it
Yeah.
comes to sports, those are all nerd number stuff.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's all
so
Moneyball.
we are going to talk about fantasy basketball league. I'm actually going to join the league this year.
Are you?
And give James a chance to win. And I don't think anybody noticed that I already made my
Just
team.
clap for you.
That I already named my team.
I
Wait,
haven't.
Kauai Mia River.
So why?
That's good. That's good.
Okay. So go. I'm gonna send this off to Keith because he's running this.
Well, it's if COVID
You're the commissioner.
I'm just the commissioner. Like,
Almost got overthrown last season.
By who? Jai? That's just because
Jai.
Jai likes to hate on the Knicks.
Jai's just
Oh, he got mad.
Jai's just controlling. He's just very controlling. But this year promises to be a full COVID-free year where we can actually get to the championship and I can thoroughly wax you guys. And
Hold on.
Fellowship.
I was beating you, by the
Whoa.
way.
whoa, we didn't even get to the playoffs. You was only beating me because for a large period of time, I had an injured Giannis.
Oh,
And
now you sound like
The top
James.
two.
Now you sound like
You weren't
James.
even the
But
top two.
as the playoffs were approaching, I had a healthy Giannis and a very healthy Luka. It was about
You
to,
did have a healthy Luca.
and it was about to be a problem.
It was gonna
That's
be
cool.
I
I'll
don't know if it was going to be a problem.
take my fourth place, and I'll live with that.
Okay.
But what
Okay.
won't happen this year? What won't happen this year is it won't be truncated before the playoffs, and
Let's
I'll
hope
be
not.
able to actually fully acclimate and actuate the throttling that I want to do. Make
activate.
sure that you guys know my superior basketball knowledge and ability. Oh, and to the viewers out there, if you would like to be a part of the thrashing, send us a line. I'll send you a link to the league. If you got the cojones, come on board.
All right, we'll get
Not for the week though.
we
Not
will
for the
get Mike to create an email that we will put up
Yes.
on the screen here somewhere in the
Yes.
YouTube video.
Yeah, somewhere a banner before we
week.
publish.
If you got the
That's right.
chops.
But I'm coming this year,
Fuck
man.
with the
I'm telling you,
kids.
this year,
James, I would just not really
I'm
talk about
putting
shit
20
right
bucks.
now.
At the very least,
I'm
you
putting
should be able
$20
to
on myself. I am betting myself on top of the
That's the kiss of death right
And
there.
there
So
he is
good luck.
losing money already.
I
Let
bet
me-
$20 against the field on myself.
Oh, and
I
there
bet-
is a trophy. It's the Thanos Invitational League. So there's a trophy.
You buried the
I
lead there.
bet $20 that the Russian bot beats James again.
Again.
For the second year.
The Russian
I
bot.
beat the other one. It was just the other one I didn't.
That's why we called you the Hillary Clinton of the fantasy basketball league.
That still hurts, man. Still hurts.
You're beaten by a Russian bot.
Freaking Putin.
Freaking blue.
Hey, I hear he's got a good team lined up this year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was in that league last year.
He does excellently in the fantasy draft.
James, you did impressively bad last year.
Impressively bad.
Hey,
No, you had to work at it.
hold
How
on.
bad
My
did you,
one,
like,
my two
actually
wins.
work?
My 2 wins was against Russian bot number 2 and Keith. I took
One of
that
the-
Keith.
You did take Keith, but Keith really, like, all of his player, it was like a fluke.
Yo, that was you see what had to happen
That's
for
my
him
problem. How's that my fault?
For him to win by like a couple points, like half my whole team had to get
My
decimated by.
guy showed up
That's
Monday
how-
morning.
wow.
His guys all got COVID before COVID started.
It was pretty
Not my fault.
spectacular.
Like this dude was, he
Like,
was
they were all
at
hanging out with Rudy Gobert before the freaking game.
it was some Haitian obeah that he was doing in his house. I don't know how he cursed my whole team like that.
All right. So I'm getting yelled at to move along, but I've got one last sports
Yelling
item.
at you.
I got
You,
one.
Mike.
Shut up,
you.
James.
I got one last sports item I'm gonna do, and that this is gonna connect with our movie fans and our geeks out there. I'm gonna force each of you to pick a fake movie sport to the death that you're going to compete in.
What?
I've got a list here.
You lost me at to the death.
You don't have a choice. You got to live in one of these fantasy, one of these movies, and be in this sport.
Don't tell me Quidditch or Harry Potter. I'm out.
Each of one has an option to die, but you could win. So who knows? All right. So number one, of course, is Quidditch. It is a fantasy sport, and people have died playing it. Okay. Number two, the game, the one where you basically you get chased as a human but by other humans.
Good movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Death Race. So if you like to drive fast and shoot mini guns and knives and stuff, it's an option. It's right out there.
I like going fast.
You can compete in the Hunger Games. Okay. Pod racing. Pod racing is an option. Now, humans, I hear, don't do very well in pod racing. So
Yeah,
be
the
careful what you
Force.
pick.
Yeah.
Have Jedi reflexes.
Running Man. You can join the Running Man
Oh,
television
okay.
show. And last one is Rollerball. Do you guys remember the Rollerball
Yeah.
movie? Okay. So you have to pick one of those to compete in to the death.
Wait, why isn't dodgeball there?
Dodgeball's a real game.
Dodgeball is a real game, and
You
you
don't die.
wait. Do people die in dodgeball?
I hope not.
I guess if you throw hammers, people
Yeah.
might die.
5Ds? What do you mean?
Dodge.
5Ds.
Dive, dodge,
Dodge.
dodge,
Dip,
dive, dodge,
Dive.
and dive,
And dive.
and dive.
Ah, yeah.
Someone did die.
Dodge a wrench, you can dodge a foot.
If you dodge
Yep.
a wrench.
You dodge traffic, you're dodging ball.
That's right.
So it sounds like practicing is more dangerous than the dodgeball game. Okay, so what game would you want to compete in to the death? Now you could survive. So if you win,
I am going to jump in first because I
go for
only
it.
know really one of the games. That's Quidditch.
Quidditch.
Yes. So I'm picking that one because you can also fly. And
Yeah, that's a cool. You get
it's
that
a
bonus.
fun aspect. Yes.
It's a fun aspect. Now, do you know what position you would like to play?
What is it? Snitch? What is it?
You're a seeker. You want to be a seeker.
You would be a snitch.
Snitch. Right?
What movie are you watching?
All right. So you guys, what do you
guys? Right there, right there, right there.
do you want to race cars? Do you want
Yeah,
to
it'd be death race for me.
Death race.
Yeah.
I can see
What?
Mike.
Do you want like a Gatling gun, like a Batmobile type?
Oh, it's gotta have the machine guns and it's gotta have some rocket launchers on it.
I always wanted a car with the little knife that comes out of the wheel,
Oh, yeah.
so you can pop other people's tires.
Like Mad Max style.
All right, Keith and James, what game to the death are you playing?
Elite Death Race.
You're doing Death Race too? Sounds like fun.
Man, that means if Keith and I are in the same race, one of us is going down.
That's right. Not both of you.
Running Man is the best one out of all of these, man.
Nice knowing you.
Wait, which one, James?
Running Man.
Running Man. There you go.
Damn. Use
Oh,
your wits, use your weapons, and like a video game, you get the other person's weapons and you move on. And then if you win $1 million.
No. What happened to the people who won, James?
Oh my God. This is ending. Like, this is the one game that you would win,
Yes.
supposedly cash prize in a vacation trip to an island.
All right. I'm taking pod racing. It's also type of flying, and as long as you're not vying for the lead, you're probably not going to die. So I'm taking pod racing.
Until you pass the sand people on the course.
Oh, and they shoot you.
I was going to say, aren't they supposed to be slaves? I got to go back and watch that episode. Weren't they all slaves?
No, I think some of them were just aliens.
Oh.
Because the one guy from the bar, with
Yeah,
the
you're
walk
right.
on
You're
his
right,
hand,
They're not all slaves. Never mind.
that was just Anakin. Annie. That was Annie.
Annie, are you an angel?
All right. So if anybody
Enough of that
else,
movie.
if you want to post on social what game to the death you'd be willing to play, hit us up. Hit us up at Heroes Peak.
Oh, speaking of pod racing, and we're gonna go into Mando here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to go right into Star Wars.
Terrible transition.
Yeah, but
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Knock that shit off.
did you guys notice, not this last episode, the one where Mando was looking for Boba Fett and he ran into the guy wearing Boba Fett's armor? Did you notice the guy was riding on old pod racing?
Yes.
Yeah, the engine.
Yeah, that was the Easter egg that I found. It's not the guy. It was what's his name? Josh Duhamel. Who was the sheriff?
Not Josh Duhamel, Timothy Oliphant.
Sorry, I always confuse the two.
Josh
They have similar bone structures in her face.
So
But
James is saying all white people look alike, and
Oh, James.
I'm saying old, tall, Western, of Middle American background, Missouri probably look alike.
So 80% of America. Gotcha.
Not according to the Electoral College, but yeah.
All right. So we are going to talk about episode, which is chapter 13, season 2, episode 5, which is called The Jedi, which is really straight down the middle. And the way this relates to Sportz as well is the woman who plays the magistrate,
Yep.
Diana Lee Inosoto. She is the goddaughter of Bruce Lee. So
Her father was Bruce Lee's first student, first pupil when he was in Seattle. Seattle. And
I thought he was in San Francisco.
I was going to say, yeah, you're right, San Francisco, not Seattle. Yeah. When he opened his first dojo in America.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I thought that was an interesting, cool connection because she did end up dueling, and she was good in her role. I liked
He
it.
did all her own stunts. Shout out to that. Diversity and representation.
Mm-hmm.
So this episode is all about Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
I'm sorry.
Osaka. That's Naomi Osaka.
Ahsoka Tano,
Trailblazing female athlete.
played by the wonderful Rosario Dawson.
Rosario.
Man, I'm all over the place today. All right. So now you guys got me going.
That's okay. We'll get James back later when I ask him who the new vice president is going to be.
I was literally just about to say that. Thank you, Mike.
So we have Mando coming down to the planet where he's been told he'll find more Mandalorians, or no, where he'll find a Jedi, and we have Ahsoka trying to save a town who is right now under the iron fist of the current magistrate and her goons, right? And they end up teaming together and saving the town. I mean, it's a very simple. All of these have a very simple overall theme, but it really was. What did you guys think of the usage of the Jedi powers and how Dawson actually worked within that system, within the TV budget of what they could do, and did they do well by the Jedi power?
First of all, shout out to the voice actress Ashley, who was getting all types of fan mail, positive and negative, when the show aired, because she did the voice throughout the Clone Wars and Rebels. And then here comes Rosario Dawson, who's a well-known actress who took over the role, different voice, obviously. So she stepped in as another female, another woman representing behind her colleagues. And Rosario came back and said, I owe hats off to you. Without you, this character wouldn't exist. So shout out to that first. Now, as far as the Jedi,
Ashley Eckstein.
I keep forgetting her last name.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We apologize to everybody in the planet ahead of time before we wreck your name.
Yeah, except for you, Nate Robinson. We know you. So I thought, and then what I did is I watched Clone Wars, the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars, season 7, and parts of Rebels before the episode, just to get myself reacclimated with Ahsoka.
I had just finished Rebels, by the way. I told you guys, right? We had I finished my rewatch and then watched this, so that was awesome.
So you probably, Mike and I will probably be aligned where you came from the super OP animated backflips, triple backflips, sabers, kind of like the original prequels version of the character. And then you get like real world 2020 budget and action, and she's not doing all the super backflips and like do. But when you first hear that sound of that lightsaber turn on, dude, the
That's
nerve
what I was waiting for. I've been waiting for that.
Hairs rising, just hearing that sound and seeing the gleam of the saber in her hand, and then seeing her go into action. Yeah, later on, I critiqued it, as I should, but high level.
Were her sabers white?
Yeah,
they're white.
In the cartoon as well.
Yep.
Yeah. She was that blue and green when she was. Hold on, Eric was over here reminding me. So her character, without getting long-winded, got kicked out of Jedi Council, or she resigned.
She left.
That's how you looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
She was Anakin's only pupil. Anakin, not Darth Vader. Anakin's only pupil.
Same person. Don't.
Nah, Darth Vader wound up having Star Killer. We're not getting down the rabbit hole. But she left voluntarily of the Jedi Order because she didn't believe in the principles any longer. Smart girl, by the way. And went her own path and joined different groups, whatever. So now you see Rosario Dawson portraying this character 30 years. I did the math. 30 years later. So she's wiser. So to me, the suspense of disbelief, she's not as fast. She's not flipping left and right, all that, theatrics. But when she's talking about Baby Yoda, she reminded me of Yoda. I can't teach her. So without getting into spoilers yet, everything that she was doing was like, wow. She went from like the teenage or adolescent young female powerful Jedi who was like, whatever, to like wiser auntie character, like so kick ass, and you saw that in this episode.
She even gave Mando the Ben Kenobi when he's explaining what the Force is speech.
She did.
Yeah, the energy.
She also kind of gave a little sexual innuendo when he was like, that's the first that he's listening to me. He goes, I like first. They're memorable, even when they're bad. I was like, yeah, Rosario.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought they were trying to create a little chemistry. I don't think there was
chemistry there.
I don't think it was great, but it was all right.
Come on, it's Star Wars chemistry. You've seen Anakin and Padme.
No, that's specifically bad Star Wars chemistry. We've seen good Star Wars chemistry, and we've seen George Lucas Star Wars chemistry.
It's always about hating sand.
So yeah, that's my take, Chris, on Rosario and the Jedi. I love the fight scenes. Obviously, we know Dave Filoni directed this, who created the character in the animated series. Who, by far, I have to say, Disney needs to give Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni creative rights to do the next trilogy. Because these guys are doing it. They're doing it the way that true Star Wars fans want to see Star Wars portrayed. And Chris,
true Star Wars fans, is that like true Americans, not those liberal elites on the coast?
I don't care. You know what?
The whole fan base. Like, I like it, so everybody likes it.
Yes. Make Star Wars great again. Dave Filoni.
All right, Mike, I'm sending it to you. What did you feel about the episode and the Jedi specifically?
So what I'm going to add is I figured Ahsoka would be in the episode. It was really cool that they just brought her out right away. They didn't wait, right? Because, a lot of times there's a build up. He'd get to the planet, he's got to talk to this guy and then go find this guy and do this. But right away it was Ahsoka with the lightsabers. So I thought that was really cool. And pretty much they kept up the same kind of tone the whole episode. It was cool learning Grogu's name. Baby Yoda.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're giving him the stone.
And I like the team up. Shout out to Michael Biehn, by the way, who was also in the episode. We have seen since what? Terminator?
No, since The Rock.
Aliens. What?
He was in The Rock.
Right, that's right.
In The Rock, he was like, I cannot get that order. You get that order. That whole standoff.
Mm-hmm.
That was his last big role.
So he was in the episode just as the mercenary. That was his name. And he squared off against Mando at the end and didn't make it. Sorry, but and some cool fight scenes. I get where you're going. What you're talking about, Jim, with the the super speed fighting in the anime versus now. I attribute it to she's older now, so she's probably lost a step or two. It's like Mike Tyson in that fight, right?
Oh shit! Great point.
So
before she wasn't high.
Well, you never know.
So my attribution is actually to the budget, because we know that George Lucas, given enough money, was willing to make Yoda not slow down after 900 years, but even speed up into a whirly bird of crazy action. So what I'm going to say is that I actually prefer this. This is really back to the original trilogy style of these are warrior, monk, samurai type. She comes in, she goes into the dark, into the mist. She comes out, she attacks, she blocks. It is very Western and very samurai style. The show is already. Yeah. We had a great little standoff with Mando, where the straight, high noon kind of standoff. So the way they did Ahsoka and her fighting, and especially the last fight against the Beskar Steel Staff was really cool. I really definitely love how this whole series just fits so well in that original trilogy, just because of their budget limits them.
I see where you're going, Chris. Keep getting there.
It is not going the prequels route, which is it turned what were, cool samurai into ninja superheroes, and really kind of let the power over the openness kind of overflew and it kind of I think screwed up a lot of the Jedi feelings. Whereas I know you're trying to get me there, James, where you think I'm going to say that the sequels actually pulled back quite a bit from what the prequels were doing, and I think we're a lot more in line with. Though I think some of their force powers, they kind of, again, they let the power spill over a bit, thinking they had to go bigger and better, grabbing. But we've seen that. People were wanting Luke Skywalker to drop an entire Star Destroyer on a planet or something. That's what, So
Yeah.
I think allowing the hardest thing I think in the Star Wars universe is allowing people to have a top of the power level, and I think geeks get zealous wanting to get more and more and more power into their characters instead of going, look, you tap into the Force, these are the things you can do. Yeah, maybe a cool new power where you can sort of see a fuzzy future, but now we've got, ghosts who can summon lightning bolts, and you've got, you've got Ahsoka in the coolest animated thing was Ahsoka diving from airplane to airplane, cutting through, but you're like, in live action, does that carry? Does that feel Star Wars, or does it feel?
It doesn't.
Does it feel Marvel? It feels more Marvel to me.
More like Marvel, like Black Widow's trailer.
So going, so for Dave Filoni to be, because Dave Filoni basically turned Anakin into a god, and I think that was just like, it just killed me. I was like, this is obnoxious. It's unnecessary. So I was glad to see in this episode he was able to make Ahsoka something that I felt fit better into the universe than.
Gotcha. Hold on, Chris. We have someone here who wants to chime in on his opinion of.
Drop your opinion, Eric. Let us hear it.
Come on, let's go.
Peanut head.
Get in there. Let's go. Talk about it. You say you want to talk about it.
Tell me I'm wrong. Come on. No, you gotta get closer to the mic.
Closer to the mic.
The episode was really good. I liked it. The only weak points of it was, I guess you could say, like, for example, how like they had the guys on the electrical thing, and then that one guy who was like sometimes there, but he wasn't really talking that much.
Oh, they're in the cages?
Yeah. That was like the only weak point you could say. But everything else was good.
Oh, the guy wound up winning the magistrate role at the end of the episode.
Randomly?
Yeah, randomly. They picked him. He was the one dude that was hanging around the sidelines.
Apparently, I did some reading, and people were saying that he used to be the governor of that community or whatever.
All right. I got to do the reading next time, I guess. Yeah. What else?
I did like the episode.
What about Ahsoka? Because we were talking heavy about Ahsoka. You watched the Clone Wars. You watched all the animated episodes. Were you disappointed? Were you happy?
He's got a.
Can't hear you, Peanut Head.
Face the microphone.
She did good, but that's pretty good. Just that I felt as her script was kind of low sometimes. Like she wasn't talking that much.
Yeah, she was quiet. Yeah, I can agree. They weren't giving her a lot of lines, but I think if you look at this whole show, what you're going to see is because of the style, nobody really has a lot of lines. Everything is very simplified.
I know, but like when you see a Jedi on the screen, I feel like you would want to like hear them say something cool and not be like, I cannot teach him.
I didn't get that. I'm sorry. I can't hear that.
I feel as if there's a Jedi on screen, the only word must be, oh, I can't train him. Like,
you're moving in and out of the microphone.
He might need his own mic, James.
Yeah.
Right here, over here.
Yeah. So what he's saying is that he felt like Ahsoka's script only was limited to, I cannot teach him. He's got too much attachment or whatever, which I get why she would say that because Anakin was her master. But he felt like he should have more of like a written role beyond what we saw.
Oh yeah, no, I can agree with that. I think I don't know what they wanted out of her besides just the appearance, and then to be like, no, I can't train him, like send you on your way kind of role.
So which brings us to at the end, Mando is heading towards the Jedi Temple now. Right?
Yeah, it didn't feel like they were.
No, not a Jedi Temple. He's heading to Typhoon, the location that has
James, now we can't hear you very well.
Oh,
there you go.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're
that's better.
Yeah. So apparently they're going to a location where the Jedi Temple was first, or the Jedi Order was first started. It's not a Jedi Temple.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it didn't feel like they were building Ahsoka to be like, oh, we're now going to have an Ahsoka series because people loved her that much. It just felt like a guest starring Ahsoka.
But there are rumors that this is supposed to be a spinoff because she asked for Grand Admiral Thrawn, which if you watch Rebels, was where they left her off with Ezra Bridger and the crew of Ghost. They were supposed to track down Ezra with Admiral Thrawn. So somebody said this could be a backdoor spinoff with her and going on that route. So,
I did notice the Loth Cat, by the way, in the episode. So there was a Loth Cat in the episode.
Yeah, we saw that, and we saw the owl. Did you see the owl?
Yeah.
There's nothing Star Wars fans love more than a name drop and a character in the background. It really is. They're the most stuff. The stuff they talk about the most is character. Did you see that? Holy shit!
Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Did you see what Jordan won when he dropped 69? I did. Same thing.
Yeah, we're all geeks. We're all geeks. So I don't know if we're gonna get to you guys.
Saw that, Brooks.
Mike, do you think we have time to talk about our bad movie of the month?
Yeah, his horrible movie. Brooks, next month you're picking. This month, I should say.
It's a lot of pressure.
It is.
Don't worry, it's not that hard. Look at the stuff Mike has picked. It's not that hard.
Okay.
It's up to you guys if you want to do it or not.
No, that's all right. We'll talk about it
real quick. Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's the point of it. Is it's funny. So
I mean, we should let people know that this movie exists.
That's right. And if you like bad movies, it's fine. You can sit down and laugh at it with friends. Like if I had friends who sat with me, instead of sitting alone watching it might be more fun.
Wow, that just took a dark turn.
That definitely took a dark turn.
I'm gonna blame COVID and not the fact that I don't go to places with other people.
Okay.
All right. So this is called Jiu Jitsu. I don't know why it's called Jiu Jitsu. It's really stupid.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no choice.
Knock that shit off.
It's a R-rated action
There's a few
sci-fi.
jiu-jitsu moves in there. There's a few.
R-rated action sci-fi starring quote unquote Nicolas
Oscar
Cage,
winner.
Elaine Moussi, with Tony Jaa, and Frank Grillo was who I was looking for.
Yeah, and that's it. After that, you don't need to name anymore.
You have no idea. It doesn't really matter who else is there. Directed and written by Dimitri Logothetis. Wow, that's such a wonderful name. I'm gonna have to look him up, but that's it. So the movie goes, every 6 years, an ancient order of jiu-jitsu fighters, which they all didn't fight in jiu-jitsu style, which I don't understand.
None of them.
Join forces to battle a vicious race of alien invaders. There was only one alien invader, but when celebrated war hero goes down in defeat, the fate of the planet and mankind hangs in the balance. Let me tell you.
So right off the bat, I just want to say it was like watching if Predator and Mortal Kombat had a bad kid.
Yeah, they tried to. If they tried to abort the movie, and this is what came out.
Wow, you're getting dark.
Yeah. Or if they had a special needs kid.
Wow, even darker.
Wow, that's I think that's worse,
guys.
So anyway, so for whatever reason, some generic army guy is running away from an alien, loses his memory, and basically has to be shown that he has to come back and fight this alien to protect mankind, because the alien comes to the planet looking to kill 6 amazing fighters every couple of years, or 10 or something like that. And jiu-jitsu, like, apparently they said they were taught jiu-jitsu by the alien, even though they didn't use that really. They used whatever fighting style they came with. And
Whatever.
And for some reason, Nic Cage is in this movie, and he's supposed to be like
Yoda.
like just I don't know.
He was like a
Mike,
little Yoda at the beginning.
you guys take it. I'm laughing. Like, too hard.
Well,
After that, I'm giving a movie an F-, but I did enjoy some of the martial arts sequences of that movie. Now, I know Chris is trying to explain the plot, and it took me a while to try to understand it too.
It's weird. All I know is that Mortal Kombat style, every such and such years, this alien comes through a portal in a temple.
Mm-hmm.
They have to beat the alien, but if I heard right, they never beat the alien or something.
No, he just kills X number of people and then goes back home.
But then they say if you don't beat the alien, he's gonna kill everybody on the planet. So,
no, if you don't fight honorably, he will kill.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, yeah. If you don't fight with honor, okay. You can lose and he'll go back, but
yeah, he just has to come and kill a couple of people. You just have to sacrifice. It's a sacrifice.
And he was practically immortal. Like every time they wounded him, he would heal in like.
He would heal himself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a video game.
Cheat code. That's that.
So
yes.
The main character, he has amnesia because he was running away and hit his head on something, and then
he's getting aluminum sheets thrown at him.
Yeah, and he gets found by somebody, can't remember. Eventually, he makes his way back to Nicolas Cage, and then the rest of them. So there was like two
different groups.
There was the military group.
The military group that's led by that Canadian actress that Chris said before.
And then that was bad.
Yeah, and then there was the Mortal Kombat group.
Who had a slow motion fight sequence every single time.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Like everything was slow motion. Oh.
Okay, can I ask this? Why did he suddenly switch to a first-person view when he was running away? It was like he didn't know what he wanted to do with the camera.
And on top of that, they showed you like this view of his hands like moving.
That's right.
The camera.
It was. So, do you guys remember that bad? There was supposed to be like a first-person. They did it in Doom. That terrible.
Duke Nukem or Doom.
Doom with Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, the first person scene.
Yeah.
That was actually what's his face from The Boys.
Mm-hmm. So it's like these directors are like they have this technique they want to try out, and then they just like toss it in the middle of this movie for no reason. And you're supposed to be like, does this help at all? What are you doing with this? Like they're not making. I understand in the Doom thing, it was like, hey, this is like the video game,
right?
Yeah,
that's why
that made sense. Yeah.
So this is just it was just bad. It wasn't the whole thing because I'm glad it wasn't because I don't think I could have watched it if it was all like that.
I didn't.
But
yeah, so I'm with you guys where I was like, okay, some of the fight stuff is okay, but the rest of this movie is just.
Yeah, I feel bad that like Tony, like good names like Tony Jaa.
And by the way, the fighting in the beginning was terrible. As you watch it and you're like, you start seeing some better choreographed scenes in the middle act, you're like, man, like they buried the lead. Like they should have showed more of this type of fighting in the beginning. Like what the hell's going on? So,
and if you have Frank Grillo and Tony Jaa, just make them the main characters. Why are we off with this other weird dude?
Yeah, the other two. Then they had the black dude with the electrical pipe, and the heavier set dude with the looked like a baseball bat. We're using some weird form of Hapkido, but it wasn't Hapkido.
And then Eddie Steeples from My Name is Earl as the comedy.
That's right.
As the comedy bit for no reason.
Wait, the guy who was a translator?
Yeah.
Oh, he was actually okay. He was probably my only bright moment watching that terrible movie.
Yeah, Darnell, Miss Darnell. I haven't seen him in anything since Earl.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wasn't meant to be the main key for me, but he was
Crap man, yeah.
He was hilarious.
Uh-huh.
He kept me entertained every time he's on scene.
I was just like, what? Okay, I was just so confused by his character.
Oh yeah,
you're right.
It was like a movie at all.
No.
At least he got me laughing.
Yeah, he brought a bright spot. Yeah, so this is definitely. I think this is.
Oh, Keith, you watched this movie too, didn't you?
It was trash.
Look, I think this is better than the Money Plane, because Money Plane was just so boring.
Man, our lows are low.
And so I give this like a D triple minus because it's not as bad as Money Plane. But man, was and like I said, the fights, if you just enjoy random, martial art fighting for no reason, there's some in there.
Yeah, buried deep in there.
One of these days we're gonna find a gem in these bad movies. Someday we will find a gem of a bad movie. Really?
Yeah, this month we gotta find a Halloween theme one, Brooks.
Halloween.
Wait, Halloween?
Isn't it December?
This theme movie.
What?
Christmas theme one.
Halloween. James is like 3 months behind here. It's like, I mean, it wasn't even the last. I mean,
I don't understand why my neighbor got like freaking candy canes out in the front lawn. Oh,
Quantum Realm James there.
James didn't vote in the election.
he's like, oh wait, isn't that next month?
Yeah.
I mailed it in.
Census.
Ooh,
All right.
Frozen in Love. That's gonna be our pick. Hallmark movie.
Nope. Wrong.
No, you're not.
Rotten Tomatoes.
You're not a Hallmark movie fan, Brooks.
No, I'm not.
We don't want to do the Michael J. White one next month.
Well, Brooks gets to choose. You can
Oh,
pass
okay.
it to her if she wants to pick it. That's up to her. But she's gotta.
Well, let her find one for us. If she, if she's having trouble, we'll help her out.
Movie, not a TV show or documentary.
What?
Or it can't be documentary
Right.
or a
No.
TV show.
Yeah, we're looking for
Okay.
like a B.
No
C
Kardashians
movie.
or.
Yeah, no NWA in the 90s documentary.
Well, that wouldn't be bad, so I wouldn't choose that for a bad movie. Thank you.
I think that's it for our topics. I think I would really like to get us to have more of like Brooks has a wonderful little niche for her, and I'm really glad we found it. And I think we all need a niche like Brooks has.
Nah,
And
Guys?
and I really gotta get, and maybe Keith has the fantasy draft niche or something.
Oh, you're gonna hear about my niche. Pun intended.
I'm gonna be shitting on DC and certain Marvel movies all day, every day.
I think Mike will be the Star Trek niche when that starts to heat up again, right? Are we ever gonna get the Quentin Tarantino Star Trek movie?
I'm not that big of a Trek fan, right? I watched the show, but I'm a Star Wars fan, like bigger.
I feel like if you watch the show, that does sort of mean you're a fan.
No, I didn't say I
No,
wasn't.
I
I said
watched Star
I'm not
Trek.
as
I'm
big
not
a
a huge
fan.
fan. No.
I'm not as big a fan as you guys tend to make me out to be. So
Well, I think you're the biggest fan here, right?
Yeah, you're
Probably.
slightly above me in
yeah,
Star Trek.
probably.
That's all that matters. Like, I'm not gonna watch all the anime that's out there, but I probably the
Yeah,
biggest
speaking of anime,
fan.
we're not even have anime. Eric is ready for an anime.
Okay,
podcast.
I will come up with a new. Did he watch any of the things that I've suggested already?
Name me a top 3. I'll tell you right now. He's ready.
All right. So I
Speaking of
suggested.
Star Trek, sorry, go ahead.
I think he should go watch Ruby on YouTube, which is RWBY. At least watch the first couple of episodes. The best anime weapon, one of my favorite anime weapons right there. It is an American production, so it's anime style, so I don't want to hear any shit from people. I'm going to tell him to go watch the... Go watch... I'm going to find you Black Magic 66. And I want him to watch Black Magic 66.
Sounds
Sounds like a
racist.
beer. Sounds like a beer.
Older anime. And along that same line, I'll tell him to go watch Battle Angel, the original anime.
Is that on
And-
Netflix? That's not on Netflix, though, is
That
it?
is not. It's going to be on Heroes Peak.
Is it
So,
on-
your top 3.
Not going to be on Heroes Peak.
Hold on, come
Is it-
over. You gotta talk.
is
They
it
can't
on-
hear you.
Is it on Crunchyroll?
3 right now. He's watching.
Well, right now,
Eric, do you watch? Eric, do you use Crunchyroll?
no.
Okay.
We have Funimation.
All right, I'll talk to the anime experts in my house. I'll talk to the anime experts in my house just to see where they find theirs.
You heard that? Go ahead.
We have to get him his own mic. James can't hear.
Right now, I'm watching JoJo, Dragon Ball, and Naruto.
Those are good. Those are good. I'll be on my third watch of Naruto when I feel like I need to.
Third watch.
Just when I need to ease in and have a good watch. I'm all caught up on my Boruto, and I've got like 4 other shows I'm in the middle of. So I started a new one.
Cartoon one day.
Yeah, I just started a new one called The Great Pretender. This is on Netflix for anybody who wants.
Wait. You have time to watch Naruto like 3 times, but you can't do a quick peek for anime?
Wow. Good one, Mike.
All right. I'll get one out. All right. Yeah, maybe I'll do one on The Great Pretender. I'm watching it on Netflix. It's the best, not the best anime on Netflix, but the original anime that Netflix animation-wise that I've seen. All right.
We don't have to do it before My Hero Academia starts back up again.
I was watching the new Ultraman. Did you take a look at that at all on Netflix?
I have no interest.
I have not seen it.
Actually, it looked pretty good. So
it's to me, it's like original Power Rangers, and
yeah, kind of.
Power Rangers is based on Ultraman, though.
And also,
yeah, exactly.
Ultraman's just basically Iron Man. So
no, it's like an alien and an alien suit, and he grows big.
All right, we're losing Brooks and Keith.
No, well, that's the original Ultraman. Like this anime, they've done some changes or something, but
I didn't really like the animation style. But I'll try it out. I'll throw in the first episode. I'm willing to go the
if I read correctly, also Marvel owns Ultraman now, so
they do.
I think so. I think I read that because I was looking up the whole show, and if you look at it, Wikipedia says it's based on Iron Man. So
no, I'm also trying to finish Evangelion and
Hey, I finished Gangs of London.
Gangs of London.
No spoilers. I'm on episode 5.
No spoilers.
I'll be finishing that. All right.
Thank you.
We're on episode 5.
Yep.
Wait, 5? That's the best one.
Is
in my opinion. In my opinion. No one else's opinion.
That the one with the Nigerian?
No, F those guys. That was the siege. That long.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was actually trying to allude to when I was telling you guys.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, Mike, watch out for the Icelandic and Scandinavians.
Yeah, you really like it when the White Walkers show up. So
they definitely were like White Walkers.
No, the Nigerians had me cracking up though.
Yeah, that was funny and sad at the same time.
Yeah,
the Nigerians disappointed me, man.
Yeah, man.
Well, let's talk about it on our after Brooks watch, and we'll do our spoiler review.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. As always, had a great time.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Hey, don't forget to follow us on social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Heroes Peak. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, like and share our videos. Let people know we're out there if you like and enjoy our stuff.
And Mike will put up an email where you can contact us about possibly joining the Fantasy Basketball League.
Fantasy Basketball, NBA Fantasy Basketball.
Thanos Invitational.
Thanos Invitation.
I still call him Thanos. I've read him that way since the 1980s. I'm going to keep saying Thanos.
That's all right. It's on par with you pronouncing people's names wrong in general.
Yeah, so James, who's going to be the new vice president?
Mike Pence.
Vice President-elect Harris.
What's her first name again?
Sora.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Bye.